Afternoon, guys. Monk Fresh Protect Dog Training on the road again. Just heading into Tractor Supply to get dog food. It's still a little bit, 30, 45 minutes somewhere every time I get there. We got a couple dogs and back to work. Heavy on the bulldogs. Littermate Syndrome. Look it up. I love this AI stuff that's out. The search engines are changing now, and you can actually ask full questions. And then when they spit the answers out to you, they really scour the internet and it comes back with a lot more humanization in their responses, how they say things, how they. It's changing. You know, our world is changing, and there's a lot of people that are way farther ahead with their ability to use AI to do all kinds of things, which I'm not going to get into. That's all fun and games, but at the same time, it shows you the potential of what AI is all about. So, back to our Littermate Syndrome. What you've got is you've got dogs that end up being dependent on each other. One dog usually ends up weak, the other dog ends up stronger in their interactions with each other. And then, so you've got a certain amount of separation anxiety that's going on. So I'm handling it in that direction. Slowly but surely, I've been separating these guys for longer and longer periods of time, putting them by themselves, that kind of thing. And I'm able to cushion that a little bit because I've got other dogs in the kennel, so I can put that dog next to another dog, and now that dog's going to be interacting with something that's not used to getting that dependency on, right? So that cushions it a little bit, buffers it, right? And then I'm slowly but surely kind of weaning them away from each other, and now I've gotten to the point where I'm leaving one in one location, one in another, and I'm not letting them see each other that much. And I'm going more into starting to build strength with agility. I'm working on that real heavy. I just got done with the park this morning, took them both out. When you first start, the biggest thing is probing. I want to see where the dog's head's at. What do I mean when I say that? Well, when you put different environmental stimuli on the dog, in other words, here comes a person, how do they react? How do they deal with their environment that they've got people, places, and things in? Am I going to go out and I'm going to just go to a parade where there's thousands of people and just saturate the dog? You could. They call that flooding. But I wouldn't necessarily do that to start. I always like to do things in little incrementals, right? But a lot of times flooding is very useful. You know what you're doing, you understand it, right? You understand the psychology of the animal and how they may react. Well, that's a lot of what I do when I'm getting to know the dog, getting to know where the dog's head's at within the work, right? I talk about that a lot, and I say it that way. It's my layman's term of expressing. I'm always observing the animal, and I'm seeing how they react to their environment. That tells me an awful lot. I've got to work them through a lot of little things, right? Each dog is a little different. Willow is a little stronger than the other dog, Blossom. And Blossom is a lot weaker, but Blossom is a little bit more attentive to learning because her brain is a little bit more receptive. She's already going after the food. She's already getting into the... So we're starting our loading of clicker and association of classical conditioning, getting them used to my hand. These are dogs that are pet quality, that haven't been out of the house much. Their parents are pretty busy with their own careers, so these dogs have been alone in the backyard, whatever their environment's been, but I can just sense that they don't have much exposure environmental, right? Willow has already gone off on somebody. I'm going to go right now. I'm going down to get the dog food. So I brought Willow with me. And I've got Marco. I'm going to go work Marco and then do the Tractor Supply run so I can get dog food, but I'm probing, right? I'm just finding out where Willow's head's at when we go out in public. And I expect her to be a little bit reactive, be a little bit stupid. So we'll work her through it slowly but surely. So now everything's about building into pattern and routine that's going to give the dog stability because they understand what's happening and what's going to happen next, right? And that will give the dog confidence, and from that you slowly grow the dog, right? A little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more saturation. You tighten down the screw on your thresholds. In other words, how much can the dog accept for any one type of stimuli, right? That's threshold. So today, that's what I was kind of observing is where's the dog's threshold? Where are they? I saw how Blossom acted when he was around another person. She kind of freaks out real heavy, you know. And take her a little bit over threshold, then she just shuts down, right? So you got to be able to read the dog and work the dog through it slowly but surely, methodically, get the dog through and build strength with agility and with all kinds of things we'll be doing, adding in the luring, doing the loading of the clicker. There's a lot of little things we're doing, right? So I'll put it all together, and as I always like to, I don't know if I like to say it, but I do say it, I amaze myself sometimes because I'll have a dog that's really weak and a basket case to start with, and I'll start putting the work in and slow and methodical, and when I get done, I look back and I say, you know, there's a lot of improvement in that dog. There's a lot of advantageous, foundational type of work that's put in. And now then the owner only has to do the job of learning and growing and let me educate them and get off the couch, because in the end, what do I always say? A dog is a product of two things: environment and breeding, right? You are his environment. Their relationship with you as an individual is going to be different than me with my knowledge base and what I've got that I'm building up myself. I am giving you a foundation to work with, right? And now I transfer that over to the owner, and I do as much as I can to put the energy into the dog. But that's what it's all about. Is the owner, in the end, is going to be the deciding factor if you get the value out of the service. Because many, many people have been in my hands and been through this and pissed their money away, right? And or the other one that happens a lot is that what I want isn't necessarily what the customer wants, right? Because I want, like Zeus as an example, I wanted that dog to go into protection, really build that house and build a kick-ass personal protection dog for home and family. I got done with the first stint, and the customer really didn't want to go any further, right? Because they have a lifestyle that they're more attracted to. They're like, he goes to the river, he goes here, he's got 3 or 4 kids, he's got a wife, you know, and then he's got his business, right? And he's compartmentalized each one of these things that he's managing, and he's toggling in between all these things he's got to deal with. He doesn't want to deal with the lifestyle of putting all that energy into the animal because his life is so busy. You can't blame him. So here's a good example of just because I want it doesn't mean that's what the customer wants, right? And you just, you know, it hurts. I want to be able to build the best house I can and be proud of my work, but it doesn't always happen that way. All I can do is try to show the customer what's available, try to point the customer that way, and it's up to them if they want it or not, right? So it is what it is. So this gentleman's career, that gentleman we're talking about, has already got a career, got a big trade, he's got a big old business, and he's managing life, and he's already got a lifestyle, you know, and he's decided with me pushing on him that he really doesn't want to add that lifestyle of what I'm showing him another time in his mind, right? In his mind and what his values are and what he wants, right? Again, what I want doesn't necessarily mean that's what the owner's going to want, right? How much are you willing to put into it, right? So back to the Littermate syndrome. Look it up. It's an interesting subject. This is about my 4th one that I've had over the years. It's not that common because most people get educated and get told it's not a good idea to get 2 dogs from the same litter because you're going to always have challenges. You're going to make it counterproductive, and you're not going to do as well if you just stay to some basic fundamental aspects of what we're trying to teach you and show you. It's not something you want to do. It's more of a pain in the ass than it's worth. So these customers went in, they had just lost a dog, and that hardship of losing the dog, their hearts were wide open. They went in, they thought, oh yeah, I used to make a lot of sales back in the day when they were able to sell dogs at pet store. I worked in a major pet store chain as a manager for one of the major pet store chains that sold puppies and kittens out of the store. And I would always do a real good job with my sales because I figured it out real quick. I'd open, oh, you want to look at him? And I'd put the puppy in their arms. Here, go ahead. And that 90% of the time with the right work with the customer would end up getting me a sale. Right? Very easy to do, you know. So, all right, I'll let you guys go. Enough yakking for now, but that kind of gives you an overview, and I bounce around a little bit with some of my subjects, so hopefully people learn and grow and appreciate my yak sessions. If you have any questions, need anything, give me a yell. I thank you much. Mark Ferrasci, Protect Dog Training. Talking about dogs as always. Signing off. Have a good day, guys.